So we have the court, and every country has a judge, and the judges are elected by the Parliamentary Assembly. Countries must put forward 3 candidates, and the Parliamentary Assembly choose one of those 3. Then there is a Congress for Local and Regional Authorities, which, as the name suggests, is an organisation very similar to the Parliamentary Assembly, where the representatives come from local government. If you're talking about America, you would have a delegation of perhaps 8 or 10 people, might be 20, I'm not sure, and you'd expect somebody from Chicago, New York, the bigger cities, but also some from smaller towns as well, and to be spread geographically across the United States of America. So that's the way that works. They meet less frequently, they only meet twice a year. Then you mentioned the Secretary General. I'm responsible for the Secretariat, which has about 2,300 people based in Strasbourg. We have approximates, we don't have quotas. We do not say, right, it's such and such a country's turn to have this job or that job. And indeed, I've insisted that I will not pay attention to nationality in the appointments I make. I've insisted we will appoint people based on merit, and that's the criterion. And no discrimination and no favoritism, which is the other side of discrimination anyway. And we do have disproportionately large numbers. I keep a very careful check on it to make sure that as far as possible we can get balanced. But the first criterion is a merit. The second criterion is gender, because we are trying to increase the proportion of women. And then the third criterion would be to try and make sure we have some people from every country, depending on the size, on its size. The Secretary General is elected by the Parliamentary Assembly, and that's a very fierce election. I mean, when I was elected in 2004, there were 3 candidates, and what was unusual was I was elected, and the previous Secretary General wanted another term. Several of my predecessors have wanted to stand again, and nobody has ever been elected twice. And I said from the start I would not ask for a second term, part of my campaigning point. My predecessor was asking for a second term, and he lost. And I was elected, therefore, by a majority of the Parliamentary Assembly, who are organised in political groups, which is a factor, but not the only factor. I would not have been elected if I had only been supported by the Socialist group, which is Socialists and Social Democrats. There's a group further left called United European Left, which includes Communists and other groups, including some Greens. Some Greens are in the Socialist group. Some Greens are in a third group, which is a Liberal group. Then there's a Christian Democrat group, and there's a group called European Democrats who are Conservatives. I mean, the best example I can give is the British Conservatives are in the European Democrat group. In terms of size, the 2 biggest groups are the Socialist group and the Christian Democrats, and it goes from one to the other year to year, because by definition, if you remember what I said about the way the delegations to the Assembly are structured, when elections take place in a member state, the delegations change. So there we are. If there's a change of one party, when the French changed from a socialist administration to a right-wing administration, so their delegation changed. The majority of the French now from the party that supports President Sarkozy. So there we are. I'm elected, and for 5 years, and I finish in 5 months. That's why I say some of these things will not happen during my mandate. And at the end of August, I go back to the United Kingdom. So there we are. And there's a Deputy Secretary General. I'm very proud of the fact that the Deputy Secretary General is a woman. She's the first woman to become Deputy Secretary General. There has been a woman Secretary General. And my predecessor, about 2 or 3, was a French woman who was elected Secretary General. So it's not unprecedented. But I do claim that I've got one big first, which is my responsibility, which is the head of my private office, which is like the engine room of the Council of Europe. The head of my private office is, for the first time, a woman. But we don't make a fetish of that. Ability is what counts first. But I am proud of the fact that I do have a senior management team which has more women than before. Yeah. I think that probably covers it all. Zoltan, have I missed anything else, Zoltan? Have I missed anything out? He's the Director of External Relations. That was okay, was it? Thank you. There we are. I'm sorry, you might think in too much detail, but actually a thumbnail sketch, because there are all sorts of activities I don't mention. One of the activities from which you benefit is called the pharmacopoeia. The pharmacopoeia works very closely, I think, with the American pharmacopoeia. No, I think America is in the pharmacopoeia. The pharmacopoeia certify the safety of medicines and pharmaceutical products. So the next time that you buy some sun cream or suntan lotion in some exotic country where you're going for your well-deserved holiday, it's almost certainly been certified as safe by the Council of Europe's body called the Pharmacopoeia. And we have all sorts of activities like that. The Pharmacopoeia has members from other continents as well. We also have, I should say, although you must be a European country to be a member of the Council of Europe, must be, unlike the OSCE, which is sometimes confused, the OSCE has two countries as full members who are not European, that is Canada and the United States of America. We do not. And Canada and the United States of America could not join the Council of Europe. But we have 4 observers. One is long-standing historic, it's the Vatican. And the Vatican, the Holy See, they've been observers of the Council of Europe ever since it was created, I think. We have 3 countries who have become, no, I'm wrong, 4. Canada, Japan, Mexico and the United States of America are all observers at the Council of Europe and have Canada does not have a representative, unfortunately, we're campaigning for that. It does not have a representative based full-time in Strasbourg, they cover it from Brussels, but the other countries have people in Strasbourg every day, every week, every month. And they attend the meetings of our equivalent of the Permanent Council here, and sometimes contribute, and certainly and Canada certainly is good on this, make financial contributions to our work, because Canada, for example, believes very strongly that what we're doing in the Balkans, in countries like Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, in encouraging and improving democracy is worthy of financial support. And so we're very grateful. They give quite a lot of money to us. So does Japan, very generous donor. Mexico are some of the most assiduous attenders. And Japan, Mexico and Canada are distinguished because they send delegations from their parliaments to attend the assembly, the parliamentary assembly meetings, and make very valued contributions. I can tell you, they take part in the debates. And I appreciate it very much because it's making a contribution from a body, from a country that's not Council of Europe, but on our wavelength, and sometimes they can spot something which we need it to be drawn to our attention. So that's it. All sorts of other activities I've not had time to mention, but it's grown like Topsy, really, in 60 years. We streamlined it a bit during my time as Secretary General. We stopped a few activities which we decided no longer necessary. But another example, based in Montreal, is an organisation called the World Anti-Doping Association, where we represent Europe in that.
Thank you very much. I think we're out of time, but the delegate from Mexico had asked for the floor. I want to offer it for a very short question, and then we'll have to round up. Please.
Sí, muchas gracias. Bueno, en vista de que ya se terminó el tiempo, mi pregunta giraba en torno a su opinión sobre esta nueva idea de que también los actores no estatales son potenciales violadores de derechos humanos y si ha habido un trabajo en ese sentido dentro del Consejo de Europa, pero no sé, a lo mejor la respuesta va a ser muy larga y si quiere podríamos discutirlo después. Gracias.
Well, it's a very important question, and I will give you a short answer, because I don't know.
Okay, thank you very, very much for this very interesting discussion. I think it's a tremendous food for thought here and for comparison and for discussion in terms of the experience in the Council of Europe and here at the Organization of American States. We have quite similar challenges as we were discussing even before coming to this hall, and the possibility of really interesting cooperation between both the Council of Europe and the Organization of American States, very similar regional political institutions with mandates in democracy, in human rights, etc. As it was very well explained by the Honorable Terry Davis. We would like to really thank you for having been with us today. Thanks to the audience in the Hall of the Americas for taking the time to be with us, as well as to everybody in Latin America and the Caribbean that is listening and tuning to this 34th lecture of the lecture series of the Americas. Finally, our thanks to Universidad San Martín de Porres, our partner and contributor to this Cátedra de las Américas, and to those that have contributed in the past, like Spain and France and China. Hope to see you soon in the 35th lecture of the lecture series of the Americas. Thank you very much again.